Welcome back to Easy Learning 77. This is your standards-based Algebra 1 Semester 1 complete course. Today our lesson is going to be on substituting constants into expressions. Remember, this is just one lesson out of many. If you want to see all of the lessons to help you get through Algebra 1, visit tinyurl.com/easylearning77. Okay. So suppose that you're given a problem to do just like this one. Substitute x equals 5 into the expression 2x minus 3. So we're given two things here. We're given a constant value, which is 5, and we're given the mathematical expression 2x minus 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that constant that's given to us, which is 5. So the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute that 5 into the variable x in the mathematical expression. So here I have my 5, and it's going to be substituted into the x of 2x minus 3. So I substitute 5 into x. And so when I do that, remember 2x really means 2 times x. And so when I put that 5 into x, I get 2 times 5 minus 3. So I have multiplication and I have subtraction. So multiplication always comes before subtraction and addition. So we're going to multiply first. So 2 times 5 is what? Right, it's 10. So I get 10 minus 3. And now I'm going to subtract. So 10 minus 3 is what? Correct, it's 7. So 7 is our final answer. All right. So let's use our calculator to check our work. In my case, I'm using the TI Inspire. So all I have to do is take that 2 times 5 minus 3, type it into the calculator, and when I hit enter, I get an answer of 7, which agrees with our work that we did by hand. So we probably did that work correctly. Please make sure you know how to do this both by hand and by calculator, because there may be times when your teacher says you can't use a calculator. You got to know how to do this by hand also. Let's look at a second example. And on this one, the problem is, what is the value of negative 7x plus 10 when x is 14? So again, I'm given two pieces of information. I'm given a constant, in this case 14, and I'm also given a mathematical expression, negative 7x plus 10. So what we're going to do is we'll take the constant given to us, which is 14, and so here's our 14. So here's the second thing we're going to do. We're going to take that 14 and we're going to substitute it into the variable x in our mathematical expression. So here's my 14, here's my mathematical expression, negative 7x plus 10. And I'm going to put that 14 in for x. But remember, negative 7x really means negative 7 times x. So when I actually substitute, I get negative 7 times 14 plus 10. So now I look at that series of calculations, and I've got multiplication and I've got addition. So what I'm going to do is I always multiply before I do addition or subtraction. So we're going to multiply first. We get negative 7 times 14, and that is equal to, correct, negative 98. So now we're down to here, negative 98 plus 10. We do that addition, and negative 98 plus 10 is equal to negative 88, correct. Negative 88 is our final answer. Remember, if you want to go back and look at something, you can always just rewind the video, or you can also pause if you want to look at the equations or kind of think about it a little bit. So rewind when you need to, pause when you need to. So we want to check our work to make sure we do this correctly, and I can use a calculator to do that. So we just type in our equation. When we substituted x, we get negative 7 times 14 plus 10. I hit enter and I get negative 88, which matches what we got doing it by hand. So we did this correctly. Again, make sure you know how to do this by hand and also by calculator. Okay, here's our third example. Given f of x equals 6 times the quantity 1 minus x, what is the value of f of negative 8? All right, so sometimes when you're taking math classes or doing math problems, the wording of the problem looks really complicated. But if you just stop, don't panic, and just think about what you already know, it's really a very simple problem. By the way, this question was given on the STAR exam in the spring of 2016 in Texas. So actually, if you think about this, this is actually a substitution problem. Number one, look at that problem carefully. We're given a mathematical expression, 6 times 1 minus x. And also, we're given a value for x. It's just kind of hidden a little bit. So this business here about f with a negative 8 inside parentheses, actually all that means is that x is equal to negative 8. So I have a mathematical expression, 6 times 1 minus x, and I have a constant, x is equal to negative 8. So I can think of this problem, it's just like the previous two examples we did. These are two different ways of saying the same thing. Substitute x equals negative 8 into the expression 6 times 1 minus x. It's also the same thing as saying, what is the value of 6 times 1 minus x when x is negative 8? Those are the exact wording for examples 1 and 2 we just did a minute ago. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this simple problem. First off, just remember, if we look at the problem, they give us a mathematical expression, 6 times 1 minus x. Next, we remember that f of negative 8 simply means that x is equal to negative 8. So, we're going to take the constant negative 8 and substitute it into the variable x in the expression. So here's our constant, negative 8. Now, third thing we're going to do is we're going to take that constant negative 8 and we're going to substitute it into the variable x in our mathematical expression. So here's our mathematical expression, 6 times the parentheses 1 minus x, and we're taking negative 8 and putting it into that parentheses. So we substitute the constant negative 8 into our variable x. So here's our next step. Now look carefully what happened here. I have 1 minus x on my mathematical expression, but my constant value is negative 8. So 1 minus x, when I put that number in, becomes 1 minus a negative 8. So if you look carefully, I've got a double negative there. So I've got other things going on here, but what we always do is we look at inside the parentheses first. Let's simplify that negative 8. And so negative is positive. So that negative and negative 8 becomes a positive 8. So next, here's what we have. We've got, now instead of negative 8, that's a plus 8 because negative is positive. So again, we're going to do what's inside parentheses first. And so 1 plus 8 is 9. So now I've got 6 times 9. So think about it. What's 6 times 9? Right. It's 54. So this is our final answer. All right, so let's go ahead and check our work. We got 6 times parentheses, and inside that parentheses I've got 1 minus a negative 8. So in that TI Inspire, you're going to hit the 1 key, then the minus key, and then you're going to put in negative 8 and close that parentheses. When you hit enter, you'll get 54. So if you have any questions on this, ask your teacher or ask your shoulder partner. Yeah, so this is my face when I get it all correct. And as we can see from our two freshman Algebra 1 students here, yo dog, we got this. Remember, if you need to review this, you can always rewind the video and watch those examples again. And pause if you need to. If you have any questions, you can always just stop and ask your shoulder partner. And if you can't, still need some, it's time to practice. So your teacher may ask you to work with your shoulder partner, or they may ask you to work individually. In either case, each student must turn in their own work. Show all your work for credit, please. And don't forget to put your name on your work. All right, so here's 10 easy problems for you to work on. Make sure you copy them onto paper and that you show all of your work. Pause the video so you have enough time to copy them. And when you're done, you can always just start the video and it'll terminate. You can also rewind if you need to look at some example problems, and you should be able to do this really quickly and easily. Good luck. Okay, so that's the end of our lesson. I want to thank you for all your hard work. And I know we've got our grumpy cat here, and he's clapping because the class is over, but don't be grumpy. Visit tinyurl.com/easylearning77 for everything you need for your Algebra 1 Semester 1 course. Thanks and have a great day.